and the IIM Calcutta campus. I will talk about this at the very end. 34.23 lakhs per annum, and usually, so this is another amazing program that is run by an SC, an ST or a PWD. There is a 5% relaxation here, which means that cutoff at which calls come usually is significantly higher than. But then overall percentile is not the only thing that IIM Calcutta looks at, IIM Calcutta or not, and as compared to some of these other IIMs. So welcome to this session where you and I are going to talk about this lovely campus, this amazing college that requires no introduction, and that is IIM Calcutta. Beautiful campus, lovely lake, and a lot of other special features. One of those special features, let me introduce you to that feature is this. Now, some of you will look at it and freak out. क्या दिखा रहे हो यार, ये क्या है ये? है ना भाई, we don't generally like reptiles, but then this is a monitor lizard, and there is an amazing, awesome story linked with the monitor lizard and the IIM Calcutta campus. I will talk about this at the very end, but then before that, welcome to MBA Wala. My name is Vikrant and I am your personal coach for all things related to English, communication skills and psychological aspects of preparation, and I keep bringing in tons of sessions for you in order to make your preparation smooth, make your preparation streamlined, right? तो आइए बात करते हैं IIM Calcutta की. तो IIM Calcutta में बहुत सारे programs हैं, पर उनका जो फ्लैगशिप प्रोग्राम है दैट इज द पोस्ट ग्रेजुएट प्रोग्राम, जिसे आप MBA डिग्री भी बोल देते हैं. सो दिस इज अ 2-year full time residential program at the end of which you are going to get an MBA degree. हाँ, अब इस प्रोग्राम में IIM अहमदाबाद हर साल अप्रॉक्सीमेटली 470 के करीब लोग लेता है. सो इफ आई टॉक अबाउट लास्ट ईयर, द इनटेक वाज अराउंड 479 स्टूडेंट्स and they charge roughly around 27 lakh rupees as fees over these 2 years. Steep? But then let's also look at the placement data. The latest placement data that is available on the website tells us that the average fees that a person gets from IIM Calcutta is 34.23 lakhs per annum, and usually if the annual average salary is higher than the total fees, we generally consider it a good deal, and that is the program that most of the people target. But they of course have executive programs, PhDs, fellowships and all that, but then there is this one program which is an absolutely amazing program. When it started, we could have said that the program was ahead of its time, and quite a few people do not know about this. They are not aware of this program, and that is why they at times miss out on it. And that program is postgraduate diploma in business analytics. So this is another amazing program that is run by IIM Calcutta, which is, once again, it's a 2-year program, but then IIM Calcutta is not the only one running it. They run it in collaboration with 2 more premier institutes. One of them is Indian Statistical Institute, Kolkata, and then of course IIT Kharagpur, and the intake is roughly around 60 to 65 individuals. The fees charged is around 24 lakhs, and the average placement even for this program is actually quite comparable to the postgraduate program that you have. This is in fact a slightly older data. The website did not really have a very updated figure, but it's still very much in that ballpark and an amazing program to look at. So let's go ahead and talk about both of these courses today so that you know what all to apply to when it comes to IIM Calcutta. So let's dive in. So beginning with the MBA, the PGPE, right? So the eligibility first. So you already know that one standard part of eligibility is graduation. So you need to have a graduation with at least 50% marks in it. Otherwise, of course, you cannot even write the CAT exam, and therefore you cannot get into any of these colleges. If you are an SC, an ST or a PWD, there is a 5% relaxation here, which means that even if you have a 45%, you are going to be considered. But then that's not all. If you are not a graduate, can you get into this college? Absolutely yes. But then in that case, you need to be in the final year exam. You need to be in your final year, or maybe your final year exams are over but the results are not yet announced. Even those candidates can definitely apply. They need to give an undertaking roughly by June to the college that all the graduation related formalities at your end are over and only the results are awaited, and you need to submit the result by, in IIM Calcutta, I think it is September end. Right? So last working day of September. So that is the cutoff for them. Most of the colleges will typically ask for your graduation transcripts by the end of September or in October. Some colleges may extend it till November. So we'd of course have those differences within colleges, within programs at times. But if you are in the final year exam, you can definitely apply. And then the last requirement is a valid CAT score. And even there is a percentile requirement. And you need to have at least 85 percentile in the CAT exam. If you have less than 85 percentile, you are not going to be considered. But then overall percentile is not the only thing that IIM Calcutta looks at. It also looks at your section wise percentile. So you need to have at least 80 percentile in VARC, at least 80 in DILR, and then at least 75 in quantitative aptitude. So that's basically what the eligibility is. Now, does that mean that you can or you will get a call at 85 percentile from IIM Calcutta provided the sectional breakup is also getting matched? No. Usually the cutoffs are significantly higher than this, and we all know that depending upon your profile, your background, etc., it can go as high as at times 99.6, 99.7 for you. But then you'd get to know of all of those things when you look at. Okay, so the percentile requirement that I talked about was for general category. In case you belong to any of these other categories, here are the eligibility percentiles for you on the screen. So let's just pick this up. If you're a person with disability, you need to have at least 45 percentile in VRC, 45 in DLR, 45 in quant, and the aggregate is 55 percentile for you. But then once again, these are eligibility criteria. The actual cutoff at which calls come usually is significantly higher than what these percentiles would recommend. But then on what basis will they call you over for their next round where they put you through a VAT and a PI? Let's dive in. So the very first thing that they look for is the CAT score, and CAT score goes on to have 65% weightage in the selection, in the shortlisting process. So a lot of people at times think it is not 65 but 56 because they just read the website cursorily, but then the truth is the weightage that they have shared on their website is out of 85. So you need 56 marks out of 85 are allotted to CAT, which corresponds to roughly 65% weightage to the CAT exam. Then your 10th score, 12th score and gender diversity are also looked at, where 10th score gets almost 12%, 12th score is roughly 17.5%, gender diversity 4.7%. So basically if you are a female or a transgender, then you get all the marks of gender diversity too. So it's a sum total of these things that determines whether you are going to get a call from IIM Calcutta or not. And as compared to some of these other IIMs, I'd say that the weightage given to the CAT score is relatively high in IIM Calcutta. So a terrific performance here can help you overcome 10th and 12th. Another element here is that we at times when we think of 10th score, 12th scores, we've kind of been conditioned to think of 90% as the excellent score, and that is where you are generally able to max out your marks from the college. But then let me tell you about the 10th and 12th points that are given to you by the college. So as long as you have 80% or above, you are able to get the maximum that is going to be allotted to you. See that? So it's not 90 in IIM Calcutta, it is actually 80. So anything which is 80 and above means that you have maxed it out. For that matter, even if you have scored 75, you still end up getting 8 marks. So it's only below 70 that you start noticing a significant gap that you need to cover through your CAT performance. But until then, I don't think it is really going to be much of a problem. And you notice there is no weightage given to your graduation marks. Not yet at least. So that's 10th and 12th. And then finally, we talk about selection. So the difference is shortlisting basically means what do they use to call you over for the written ability test and the personal interview. right? But then once the personal interview and VAT are once those are conducted, then when it comes to the final list, all these components may play a different role. So in the selection criteria, the CAT score goes on to have a 30% weight. But then personal interview gets the lion's share, and that is 48%. Imagine that. Huh? Then VAT 8%. Academic diversity at bachelor's and master's level 6%. So basically, if you're not an engineer, you get some marks, right? So how do you max these out? If you've done your graduation and masters both through non-engineering routes, you get 5 marks. And if you have a professional degree like CA, CS, etc., you get the maximum 6 marks that are allotted to you here. So academic diversity is looked at this juncture by IIM Calcutta. And then finally, they give some weightage to work experience, 8%. A lot of people tend to ask me, sir, कितना work experience sufficient रहेगा, कितने marks लाने पड़े, कितने marks दिए जाते हैं. So when it comes to IIM Calcutta, this is the equation. So points for work experience. So let's say your work experience, the duration of your work experience is X. So if your work X is less than 6 months, no marks. But here is a catch. You realize interview gets 48% weightage. If you're working, even if it is not above 6 months yet, it's below, even then you are likely to do a little better in the interview because of that. So it is indirectly still going to influence your performance, or can influence your performance. So between 6 to 24 months, X divided by 3. So let us say you have 12 months of experience, you get 4 marks. 24 to 36, the maximum marks that are given, 8. And after that, they start reducing it somewhat. Okay, so here is the equation, and this is basically their way of saying that, hey, if you have more than 4 years of work experience, we're not really going to be very happy with you. So 2 to 3 years is what is ideal for IIM Calcutta, and for that matter, most of these colleges for their flagship programs. Of course, executive programs would have a different process altogether. And now let us move over to this other program. So once again, let me start with a reminder. It is postgraduate diploma in business analytics. So you've heard of big data, you've heard of data analytics, you heard of business analytics. All of these buzzwords are really big in our world today. So this is a program that makes you an expert in that domain. And if you have done your PGDBA, you are going to study at IIM Calcutta, ISI Kolkata, and IIT Kharagpur. So you notice some of the biggest names, some of the most reputable names in the country have come together to offer you this awesome program. And the process here is quite simple. Eligibility is more or less the same. So graduation, but now the catch is you need to have at least 60% marks. And in case the marks are allotted as a CGPA, you should be 6.5. There is a 5% relaxation for SC, ST, PWD. So instead of 60, 55 will suffice. Instead of 6.5, 6 will suffice. And this is one of those programs where you do not need to, or where they don't ask you to convert your CGPA into percentage. You just mention your CGPA as it is. Okay. And even if you're in the final year, you can of course go ahead and apply. And then the last thing is, you need to have a valid PGDBA admission test score, so PAT. So they conduct their own entrance exam, and the amazing part here is that when it comes to shortlisting people, it happens solely on the basis of your performance in this admission test. And it is a little bit different from other programs, particularly in terms of math. So this basically asks you or tests you on graduation level mathematics as opposed to just the aptitude bit of quant. So if you're an engineer, the kind of things that you studied in the first 3-4 semesters, those are the kind of things that are going to get tested, and therefore it is important it's at least beneficial if you have studied math even at the level of your graduation. Otherwise you'd have to go ahead and prepare for that. So the only thing that matters is this. So if you are somebody who worries about the profile, like यार भाई मेरे 10th के स्कोर अच्छे नहीं है, 12th के अच्छे नहीं है, यार ये ले लो ना, देख ही नहीं रहा ये बंदा, तुमको बुला लेगा। अब जब बुला लेगा तो बुलाने के बाद क्या करेगा, इंटरव्यू कंडक्ट करेगा, और इंटरव्यू कंडक्ट करने के बाद एडमिशन लेटर किस चीज पे बेस्ड है, इसमें टेस्ट स्कोर की वेटेज 45%, तो देख लो ऑलमोस्ट आधा तो अभी भी ये है, और इंटरव्यू की वेटेज इज 40%, तो अब तुम देखो 85% तो ये रहा। And both of these things are ahead of you. They've got nothing to do with your past. Okay? But 12th को 8% weight दिया जाता है, और 12th के लिए अगर आप कैलकुलेशन देखें तो जो 8 मार्क्स अलॉट करेंगे वो बेसिकली इस पे बेस्ड होंगे। अच्छा ये सॉरी 12th परसेंटेज, एंड देन ये मैंने चेंज नहीं किया शायद, सो 12th परसेंटेज and the corresponding marks. So 95% or above maximum, 90 to 95 7, 85 to 96. So देख रहे हो, अनलाइक MBA जहाँ पे 80 के ऊपर मैक्स आउट हो रहा था, यहाँ पे मैक्स आउट करने के लिए 95 के ऊपर जाना पड़ेगा, तो शायद जिन्होंने ज़्यादा मेहनत की है उनके लिए थोड़ा और अच्छा है, बट इवन अदरवाइज 80 अगर क्रॉस हो गया आपका, राइट, तो भी आप सिर्फ 3 मार्क्स ही मिस कर रहे हैं, ऐसे बहुत मेजर डिफरेंस नहीं है, तो आप PGDBA और इंटरव्यू में इजीली कवर कर सकते हैं। एंड द लास्ट थिंग दैट दे लुक एट इज वर्क एक्सपीरियंस, और जैसे IIM Calcutta में वर्क एक्सपीरियंस वाज लिंक्ड विद मंथ्स, ठीक इसी तरह से PGDBA के लिए भी इट इज लिंक्ड विद मंथ्स। तो हियर यू गो। सो देखो मंथ्स में अगर 60 मंथ से ज्यादा है तो 4, 48 टू 60 है तो 5, 36 टू 48 है तो 6, और यहां भी देख रहे हो 24 टू 36 में आप मैक्स आउट कर पा रहे हैं, तो वही 2 से 3 साल का वर्क एक्सपीरियंस बड़ा स्वीट स्पॉट है इन सारे कॉलेजेस, इन सारे प्रोग्राम्स के लिए, right? So there you go. So that is what they are going to look at. So if you're interested, I would very strongly urge you to go ahead, have a look at PGDBA syllabus once, and make sure that PGDBA is aptitude test part once, and do apply, and that is going to make a lot of difference. And we started with this monitor lizard, and I told you that it has a special place in IIM Calcutta's lore. So IIM Calcutta में मॉनिटर लिजर्ड को बोला जाता है मोंटी। तो भाई एक बार क्या हुआ कि IIM Calcutta के बैच का एक बच्चा जिसका CGPA बहुत अच्छा नहीं था, ही वॉज गोइंग टू अपीयर फॉर एन इंटरव्यू, तैयारी भी अच्छी नहीं थी उसकी इंटरव्यू की, लेकिन रास्ते में जब वो इंटरव्यू देने जा रहा था तो उसको ना मोंटी दिखा। बहुत सारे मोंटीज है वहां पे, तुमने देखा शुरुआत में, है ना, वो लेक है उसके आसपास, देयर आर प्लेंटी ऑफ मॉनिटर लिजर्ड्स, और उसके बाद he converted that interview. Then there was this other girl who barely studied a particular subject, and she was sure कि भाई इसमें तो उसका आज कुछ नहीं होने वाला, बहुत ही घटिया मार्क्स आएंगे। वो एग्जाम देने जा रही थी, उसको रास्ते में जाते जाते मोंटी दिखा, और वो बैच में उस दिन उस पेपर में उसने टॉप किया। इमेजिन। तो अब IIM Calcutta में क्या है कि बहुत सारे लोग बिफोर एवरी इंपॉर्टेंट इवेंट they would leave their hostel early, और वो जाकर के सुबह वहां लेक के किनारे खड़े होकर ढूंढ रहे होते हैं, भाई देखो इंटरव्यू देने जाना है, पेपर देने जाना है, तैयारी नहीं है, मोंटी को देख करके जाए, राइट? तो तुम अगर कभी IIM Calcutta में हो, या in case even if you're in Calcutta, Kolkata, make sure that you go visit the campus and then look at these creatures that have brought a lot of luck for the students at IIM Calcutta, and I hope that the Monties bring a lot of luck for you as well someday, right? So that's where I'll stop today. And before I sign out, a lot of us at times hesitate dreaming of these big colleges. I'm Ahmedabad, Bangalore, Calcutta. We at times rule ourselves out of that race. So here is a reminder for you: do not limit your challenges, challenge your limits. And once you start doing that, you won't even know where you will end up someday. So at that note, let's pause here, and we'll keep bringing you information about more colleges. If there is a particular college or a program that you're interested in, do let us know in the chat down below, and we definitely help you with that. So take care and have a great day ahead.